of hope, the hope that so many generations of Americans had, that a divisive chapter of our history would symbolically end one day in the election of our first African-American president. This stadium today is a case study of hope. Our hearts are full of hope for you. Your own hearts are deservedly full of hope for yourselves and your friends. It's a good, positive feeling. We are curious about one another, happy for one another, engaged with one another, convinced that there is room in this great country for every hope in this stadium and beyond to be fulfilled. Ironic detachment, cynical disengagement, and zero-sum thinking are banned from this stadium today. History helps us understand the power of hope. And because I teach history, we must have a history lesson every year. Next week, we will celebrate the 65th anniversary of VE Day. That day, 65 years ago, that World War II ended in Europe. The war in the Pacific ended 3 months later. We should never forget this. It was nothing but hope that brought this disorganized and divided country through the first years of that war. Nothing but hope that transformed Michigan into the arsenal of democracy, that set the Willow Run bomber plant just 6 miles down the road to producing a B-24 bomber every hour with the help of your grandparents and great-grandparents. One of those in the famous film Band of Brothers has said that on VE Day, we felt like we could do anything. And they did. Here at home, where they built families and businesses and a civil society that laid the foundations for our own. They had seen the worst that the world had to offer, and they hoped and worked for the best for this country. They're called the greatest generation, not just because they won the war, but because their hope led them to invest so much in the peace, in the world that we have inherited from them. And when they began, the members of this generation, to be called later the greatest generation, were exactly the same age as today's hope. They felt like they could do anything. As we move from remembering our past to constructing your future, we know that feeling is in your hearts today too. A part of you today is saying, I feel like I can do anything. Embrace it. President Obama has written that it was the pervasive spirit of hope that tied my own family story to a larger American story. And so the President has placed a national Hope Wanted ad. Wanted, the next greatest generation. Hope required. To mix it up, take risks, get out of your comfort zone, listen to others, carry others with you. You must celebrate small victories at the same time as you keep the big picture in mind. You must live every day full of help for yourselves and for this great country of ours, which has been at its best when it was full of hope. Imagine the hopeful feelings in this stadium today